Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. Jay Johnson in 15 minutes talking pro Tiger baseball. We'll also do a little bit of, we'll have some fun coming up in 30 minutes. I'll just leave it at that. What has not been fun at all is watching LSU attempt to run the football the last 2 years. I am going to talk about this a billion times in the month of August because I just think it is such a massive talking point. Now, let me be clear. My attitude about this entering this football season is different than entering last football season. I thought last year LSU still might not be great running the ball. And they might not be great running the ball this year, but they're damn sure going to be better. And they have to be. Listen to these numbers. This is mortifying. Last year, 6 teams in the nation, in the FBS, ran the ball fewer times per game than LSU. 6. LSU finished the year 114th nationally in yards per carry. LSU, 114th in yards per carry. It's just unfathomable that the running game got to that point. Now, you can determine how much of the pie you want to give to each reason. The offensive line wasn't good. Well, why wasn't the offensive line good? Bad evaluation, bad coaching, bad development, bad identification of talent, bad scheme. You can look at the offensive coordinator and say he didn't commit to the run or he didn't have an opportunity to run the ball. You can look at the quarterback play and say, well, you had a hurt quarterback, so you couldn't get the ball down the field, and then defenses crept up, and you can say that, well, you were losing a lot, so you had to throw the, like, there's 100 reasons you could give. The fact of the matter is, I don't care why. I just know that it was awful. I would care why if that coaching staff was still here. They're not. So I don't care why. I just know it was terrible. They have got to get the running game fixed in a hurry. Now, Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. could run the football at Notre Dame. Last year, Ole Miss was 4th in the country in rushing touchdowns. In 2023, they led the SEC in rushing attempts. They're committed to it, and that's the first step in being a good running team. The first step is saying, hey, we're going to run the ball. And I have no reason to believe that Lane Kiffin will not say that. There was, at one point, a thought about Lane Kiffin that he just loved to sling it all over the place. It was never really true, but those were the highlight plays. The fact is he wants to run the ball. Now I think everyone realizes that, and certainly those here in Baton Rouge realize that. He wants to run the football. And I think LSU has the backs to do that. I don't think there is a back on LSU's team that's as good as Kejuan Lacey. I hope they prove me wrong. My opinion is they don't have a back that good. I think they have backs plenty good enough to run the ball in the Southeastern Conference. 2 years ago, Caden Durham emerged against South Carolina in one hell of a game out in Columbia. And he's led LSU in rushing in back-to-back seasons. I don't know that he's been completely healthy for much of the 2 years. We know 2 years ago he had the dislocated toe that had a metal insert in his cleat, and I just don't know how healthy he's been. But he's got a low center of gravity. He's got good speed. He probably doesn't have the speed that I thought he had coming out of Duncanville. He was just a big play machine for that incredible high school program. But he's got good enough speed to hit home runs. He's also made 44 catches in 2 seasons. He took a swing pass, 71 yards for a score against South Alabama. Like, he's got the ability to be a good player. And Harlem Berry showed some flashes last year. He played well in the second half against Ole Miss. He played well in the first half against A&M. They never gave him the ball in the second half. He busted for a 43-yard highlight run against Louisiana Tech where he spun out of a tackle and cut back and outraced people to the corner. He's got the goods. He was the number one prep running back in the country. And, yeah, it's a big step up playing for St. Martin's and little 1A New Orleans football and playing in the SEC. It's a big step up. But he's put on a little bit of weight, and I think he's got the ability, the vision, the burst to be a really good back. And y'all know at this point how I feel about Dylan Jones and what he did in the spring. It would be a subjective statement for me to say he had a strong spring, but also he got more reps as time went on with the first team. Kiffin lauded him in press conferences. And as we started to watch the running backs go through drills late in spring, he was consistently going first through those drills. He's 5'11", 210, which is 25 pounds heavier than Barry. He's 3 inches taller than Durham. So he's the biggest back on the roster. And it's not like he came out of nowhere. He was the number 6 running back in the country, according to ESPN, coming out of high school. And after a redshirt season with Wisconsin, he was the starter last year. Against Michigan, he ran for 67 yards and a touchdown. Iowa had a really good defense last year, ran for 69 yards on them, but a foot injury cost him the last 5 games of the season. Those 3 guys are good enough to run the football in the Southeastern Conference. Jones is big and physical and has started for Wisconsin. Durham has led LSU in rushing for 2 years. He's had great games at LSU. Harlem Berry was the number 1 prep back in the country. He's now a sophomore. He's put on some weight. Those guys are good enough. You've got some other guys. Rod Gainey was a 3-star prep back. He played at Charlotte last year. Racine Guillory played at Utah last year. He reclassified and is a guy that was a 4-star recruit before he reclassified and is now supposed to be a freshman in college, but he's in his second year. I think they've got the talent, and I like the coach. I think Kevin Smith does a good job. It's just a matter of getting those guys in position to make plays. And look, nobody was beating down the door to get Quinshawn Judkins out of high school. And Ole Miss got him, and he became a star. And Kejuan Lacey played at Missouri and was a non-factor. So it's not like they were just consistently recruiting Leonard Fournette and Jeremy Hill back-to-back in Oxford, and that's why they were running the rock. The scheme has a lot to do with it. And these guys are now in that scheme. Now, here's my take on the running back position. Y'all know this by now. I think Dylan Jones is the best back that they've got on this team. I think if you made me pick right now, he would be my pick to lead the team in rushing. Would I be fall on the floor stunned if Harlem Berry led the team in rushing? I would not. But I think Dylan Jones' body type lends itself to running between the tackles 14 times in the Southeastern Conference more than Berry's. Berry's 190 pounds. I want Harlem Berry to touch the ball 10 times in every game. I think there are games where I'll want him to touch it 18 times. That was the case against A&M last year, I can promise you. But I think Jones is kind of the leader right now. Kiffin's made one thing very, very clear. They have a ton of trust in their evaluation. Whether you got 5 stars next to your name or 2 stars next to your game, they trust their evaluation. And I think Dylan Jones has pushed forward. Now, you're not going to get through an SEC season with one guy. You need multiple backs. And I think that all 3 of these guys are going to get carries, going to get touches. And I truly believe LSU is going to run the football. I think Braylon Moore can help you run the football. I think Bo Bordelon has got some traits that will help you run the football. I know Aluba is massive and can help you run the football. Jordan Seaton's got to get better. Weston Davis has got to get better in the running game. And I don't mean to tell you that Bo Bordelon's a better player than Jordan Seaton. That's not the point. But Jordan Seaton was not a great run blocker at Colorado, where they did not take running the ball seriously. Certainly not with Shador at quarterback. They were chucking it all over the yard. But he's also lost some weight. He's got to get better on the physical side of things. But with the tempo, with the commitment that Kiffin and Weiss have to running the football, and with the horses they've got at running back, I think that they're going to run the ball. I predict that LSU will finish in the top 5 in the SEC in rushing. Top 5 in the SEC. I'm not telling you top 5 in the nation. I'm not telling you like Ole Miss last year led the nation in rushing touchdowns that they're going to be some juggernaut on the ground. And I don't think anybody's winning the Heisman Trophy from LSU's running back crew. But I do believe they're going to commit to it. They've got the dudes to do it, and they will run the football this year. If they don't, you got problems. But Levitt's also going to help with the running game. I think he's going to run a little bit. Maybe not as much as his first year at Arizona State, because you've got a guy that's got some injuries and you don't need to do that. I guess with Scadaboo you didn't either, but he did run a lot. I am comfortable telling you that I think LSU is going to be a very, very good running football team, and that is going to itself transform LSU's offense from the unmitigated disaster it has been on the ground the last 2 years. I saw it coming Jaden's last year when they could not run the ball with the running backs in that Heisman year. They could not. I mean, Diggs was okay. They just didn't run it a lot. And then it reared its ugly head once Jaden left, and you had Nussmeier back there who couldn't run the ball, and then you went to Van Buren, and by that time the offense was shot, and there was no confidence in the whole group. But it's been awful. It cannot continue to be awful. They've got to find a way to run the ball. I think they will. Hopefully I'm not proven wrong. We'll continue to churn through our offensive depth chart. We've gone through every single position on offense, started with center, then went out to guard, tackle, tight end, wide receiver, quarterback, and running back. We have hit them all on the offensive end. If you want to hear those position by position, you can go check it out at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. You can read about it on LouisianaSports.net. We'll start with defense coming up tomorrow, and we'll continue to churn through LSU's defense when we get to Tampa next week for SEC Media Days. But looking forward to getting over there and have enjoyed getting back into the swing of things with football, going through our in-depth chart series. So, again, check that out on demand. Hunt on LSU and over at LouisianaSports.net. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Jay Johnson next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Online at FabryChevrolet.com. That is FabryChevrolet.com. Every car that is on the lot is online at FabryChevrolet.com. Fabry family's been at this for 35 years, y'all. The family has built a name for itself based on customer service. Service to this community that means so much to that family. If you've had uncomfortable interactions, experiences on a car lot, you're not alone. That happens. Pushy salespeople trying to take advantage of you, saying things you don't really understand, trying to upsell you on different types of things after the sale's complete. That's not going to happen to you at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. It's just not in the Fabry family DNA. They're going to take care of you. They're going to help you get behind the wheel of a new vehicle, whether it's an SUV like the Chevy Suburban or Tahoe, maybe it's the GMC Yukon or Denali, maybe it's a truck, GMC Sierra, Chevy Silverado, new, pre-owned, no matter what the case may be, whatever you're looking for, they'll help you at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can check them out at FabryChevrolet.com or go see them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Chugging along here on a Thursday, working towards the weekend. And last time Tommy White, Dylan Cruz, and Nick Kurtz shared a field, our next guest called it one of the best nights of his life. That was in Omaha, Nebraska. Tommy White, a walk-off home run to beat Wake Forest and send LSU to the championship series. They would win that in 3 games. They'll share a field again tomorrow night in, I don't actually know where that game is, but the A's will play the Nationals, and it'll be Tommy White's Major League Baseball debut. Been some really cool things in professional baseball for LSU over the last 4 months or so. To talk about that, we bring on Jay Johnson, head coach of the LSU baseball program. Coach, thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing great, Hunt. How are you?
Doing quite well. I want to go back to the recruitment of Tommy White. I know that you had a really good offense coming back, and you had Dylan, you had Trey, and Jordan Thompson, Dugas, Beloso. You had Joe Bear, a lot of really good players there. But White was a pretty special talent. What do you remember about hosting him and the feeling once you landed him? I think, as I recall, the story involves a breakfast in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Totality of the whole thing was we were getting ready to play the regionals against or at Southern Miss. He went in the portal that Friday morning. No contact with him. Didn't know who his advisor was. Didn't have any travel ball connection. Somehow we ran down his number. I called him that morning. Agent was kind of like, yeah, I think you're a little late. I'm like, what do you mean we're a little late? He just went in the portal. Started conversations. Really the thing centered around developing him as a third baseman. And I, quote unquote, remember saying, hey, man, I don't care if you make 30 errors. You're going to play third base, and we'll make you a better third baseman. And then we got some traction because of that. And then shortly after that, I went down to Tampa and did a home visit. He had home visits on 3 consecutive days with, 2 other big programs, and we were able to get a visit maybe about 5 or 6 days after that. And you're right, he committed on the visit and breakfast of the second day. We still had a full day of good stuff together, and I crawled over the table at Ruby's Slipper and gave him a big bear hug. And I was thinking about that. That was just a little over 4 years ago. So been a pretty awesome 4 years for Tommy.
Yeah, you've seen some major leaguers come through multiple programs that you've been a part of as a coach. Tommy is a hitter. What do you think about him, and what has made him a guy that's now gotten to the show?
Well, he's certainly one of the best I've ever had, obviously along with Dylan. And I think for me is obviously it's tremendous power to all fields. I used to joke with people, like when we had Tommy and Dylan, they hit the ball with authority so well to right center field. It was like I had the 2 best left-handed hitters that were actually right-handed I've ever seen. And just his ability to hit with power without having to sell out to the power, the elite bat to ball, with the violence of that swing is a combination you don't see very often. But then the separator is the competitor. I mean, you knew when he was standing in the box, that's where his focus was and all of his intent was.
He's going to share the field with Dylan Cruz on Friday at a big league level, and we've talked about Tommy there, obviously. But some people may not know that Dylan started this year in AAA. It's been a bumpy start to his major league career for Dylan, but he's played a lot better right before the All-Star break. I don't know if you've spoken with Dylan, but that's not something that I certainly could have forecasted, but he seems to have come out of it. What is your takeaway from Dylan's start to his big league career?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, just knowing the person, the competitor, the hitter. And I think when you're so successful like Dylan was, like, I don't think there was a bad weekend in 3 years at LSU, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe one, which probably included a home run in there somewhere. I think when guys perform that well for that long, like you can lose track of, like, this game's really hard. And it's really hard when you're facing the pitching. And I'll give you an example of this. Like, I was watching the All-Star game the other night, and I don't even remember who it was. Somebody was in the All-Star game hitting 237.
Yeah. And
that kind of sums it up for me. Of maybe some of it's the evolution and change in pitching and hitting, but like it's really hard. And no matter how good you are, and Dylan is great, like, you're just not immune to some of it. And I go to bed at night very comfortable, thinking that Dylan Cruz's success is always right around the corner.
I want to talk about a couple other guys from your program here in Baton Rouge and what they've accomplished on the pitching side in the first half of this year. Gage Jump has gotten up to the big leagues and just been awesome. He tied my Cubs in knots a couple weeks ago, and Cade's knocking on the door as well with Seattle. When you see that, what does it make you feel?
Yeah, a lot of pride. Obviously this past weekend with the draft, and it kind of hit me like, wow, we've had 5 years here, and we've had 5 players selected in the top 6 picks in the draft, over 5 years. It's exactly what you want to do. And, and coming here 5 years ago, it's like, hey, can we create or recreate, what Alabama football had been doing, what LSU baseball did in the 90s, and the championships are great, but those only come if you get great players. And that means, first round, close to ready-made major league players. And so, to have those guys, like you mentioned, and Gage was a second rounder, and I don't know that he's totally appreciated because he was only there for 1 year and it was between the 2 championships, but he's one of the best pitchers I've ever had. And I have had zero surprise at how quickly he's ascended to the big leagues and the success that he's having.
It's amazing to watch the success, and there are some more guys that are knocking on the door of the big leagues as well. I'm curious because you just got through a lot of these discussions with your high school signees with the draft coming up. You had professionals at Nevada and at Arizona, but the top 5 guys, the guys that are making $5-6 million, the guys that get to the big leagues so quickly, are you able to use that in these recruitments, or does it really just come down to the finances of a lot of these guys? How much do they listen to the fact that you've now coached Barry and Cruz and Curiel and Anderson and Jump and those kind of guys in Baton Rouge?
Well, I think in these discussions, like, I think a lot of coaches, they're selling a vision of what could be. we're not doing that. We're saying, like, this is what this looks like. This is the path to get there, and here are the results. And I think that is very attractive, and I do think that mattered in terms of landing some of these guys. This year was far less PowerPoints, far less data, far less statistics, and just plain and simple, like, going to Derek, which is awesome. Like, I mean, this was the plan. Like, we and specifically he executed a plan that was put in place from the time we started recruiting him, and he did it perfectly. So we feel like we have a good feel for that. It's obviously the player that deserves all the credit and has the responsibility of getting themselves there. But there's no better place right now if you're an elite player and say, hey, I want to be picked at the top of the draft and have a short arc from the draft to the big leagues, that nobody's had more success at that than us.
I'll admit, I was sitting on the couch, had my story ready for our website for when Derek was drafted, and when he came off 5th, I said out loud, oh, like that was a little quicker than I thought he was going to come off. Did you have an inkling that was a real possibility that early in the draft?
Yeah, I did. I got called. The Pirates actually called me on Saturday morning and kind of laid out that if those first 4 picks went that way, they were going to pick either Derek or Drew Burress. But the conversation was centered around Derek, and just on kind of some quick and last thoughts, and was really excited about that. So I watched those first 4 picks with like great interest because my thought was like, he was going to go in the top 10 no matter what. But like, wow, like we did it. Like, it's a 6-year journey from, junior high, when I first saw him, like looking at him on the internet during COVID, to national champion, top 5 overall pick. And no matter what, he always just finds a way to show up and be the best guy on the field. And I'm happy to see it, because you could maybe look at power or this or that, but it's really hard to argue with performance over his entire life. Like, there haven't been too many downturns for him.
He's a pretty good hitter. I would suggest that. Last one, Coach. We appreciate your time. A couple guys up on Cape Cod, Bino Waters and Dawson Park, made the All-Star team. They'll play in the All-Star game coming up this weekend. What does that say about those two guys and what they could be in your program?
Yeah, I'm actually up here right now as we speak. I saw Dawson and Cade Curlin play last night. Dawson looks like a spectacular defender. Cade hit a home run last night, and I'm heading over to Bino's game here later this afternoon, and excited about what they're doing. And I think we're going to like what all these players are going to bring to our program. So excited. It's been a good couple days, and excited to head over to Sacramento tomorrow.
I'm excited for the weather that you've got there. I'm assuming it's not 103 on the Cape right now?
It's very nice right now.
We'll enjoy that. We appreciate some time, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks, Jay.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
That's LSU head coach Jay Johnson talking about some of his pros and the guys to come. There's some really good players that are coming into this program, both from the portal, talking about Cape Cod All-Stars, as well as the guys that he was able to keep from the draft last weekend. The guy never stops. He leaves the draft, and then he's coming into to Cape Cod, and I guess the A's and the Nationals will be in Sacramento, so he'll fly out there for that, which again, it'll be an awesome deal because Gage is there and Dylan will be there and Tommy will be there, so it'll be cool for him to get to be there and see that. Great night for Tommy White. As I mentioned, my crew's headed out of town, so tomorrow I'll be home solo, and I'll be packaged to watch the Cubs. I'll flip over and watch Tommy's first at bat. I'm assuming when they call him up, he'll be in the lineup. You usually don't call up a prospect like that and then sit him on the bench for a week before they play. You call somebody up to play. And the A's also lost 9 in a row before the break. So I didn't know that until I did that story this morning on Tommy White. I went to look at what the A's were doing. They lost 9 straight before the break. So I think they need a little infusion of offense. Tommy should bring that. So huge shout out Tommy Tanks, and thanks to Coach Johnson for giving us a little time here on this Thursday. All right, when we come back, we're going to have some fun. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTrosOnline.com. That's GoTrosOnline.com. Look, it is grass growing season. 103, rain. The grass grows quick. If you got to maintain a property, you need that zero-turn mower. There is no better spot to get by than GoTro's Outdoor Power. 22 years in business, family-owned and operated. Go with the local team. You can buy a Hustler zero-turn mower from the big box store. You can do that. Will you ever hear from them again? I don't know. But I can promise you that they're not going to slap on an additional warranty, which they will at Gotros. You can add 2 years or 200 hours to the manufacturer's warranty if you go with Gotros, and they're the warrantor. So you get it from a local company. If you need that zero-turn delivered, they got trailers for you. If you need parts, largest parts inventory in the state, and they got trucks on the road 8 hours a day, they can get those to you. It's the local difference. That's why we always tell you to shop local with friends at Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at GotrosOnline.com. It's not by the 2 locations, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. Gotros Outdoor Power.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
We're brought to you by Lifetime Roofing. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com. Go with a roofer you can trust. Go with a local roofer. Because oftentimes roofing companies can be a little bit presumptuous. They can go up there on your roof, take advantage of you. You may just need a repair and they can sell you a whole new roof because they can. That's never going to happen at Lifetime Roofing. It's a local Baton Rouge-based business with people from South Louisiana, and they understand that the nature of their work oftentimes is in a time of, call it crisis. Like when you've got a significant weather event, people can be displaced from their homes. People can have huge losses that are involved in things like hurricanes. And so what they think about what they're calling in terms of roofing is we're here to serve the community. So if you're looking for a company to come in and treat you the right way and do work the right way, Lifetime Roofing is who you can trust. They'll go up, they'll survey the situation. Maybe you need a repair. They can repair it. Maybe you need to fortify your roof for storm season to make sure that it's ready for storm season to come through. Or maybe you need a new roof and they can help you out with that. And if they do, then they'll offer you a lifetime workmanship warranty on that roof. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. All right, we've had a lot of meat on the bone here for the last hour and a half, right? Jay Johnson just got off the phone with us here talking LSU baseball. We talked LSU running backs as well. We talked college football playoff expansion. Luke Johnson came on to talk about Alvin Kamara's new contract. I opened the show talking about LSU football's Nike Elite class with the 11 Tigers that have been included in that for this coming football season. A lot of meat on the bone, a lot of local storylines. This is not local. But I think it's entertaining. I think it's humorous to an extent. It's something that I actually enjoy paying attention to, and it's play-by-play. Y'all know that I don't care about soccer. I tried this World Cup. I gave it 4 or 5 games. It's just not for me. I'm thrilled it's for you. If you thought the last 4 weeks have been the coolest thing ever, that's awesome. I've enjoyed a lot of aspects of it. The videos on social media, people indulging in American culture, the takeovers of the cities by different countries, the nationalism, the pride. There's been a lot of cool stuff. I just don't care about the sport. But these 2 sound bites that I'm about to play from different countries with the World Cup really tickled me this morning. I just thought they were incredibly entertaining. The first one we're going to play is from the radio play-by-play voice of the Argentinian soccer team. He was on site in the semifinal against England as Argentina came back from down 1-0, scored the equalizer, and then took the lead. And what you're going to hear, and you won't understand any of, is the goal that put them ahead beyond the 90th minute that essentially sent them through to the World Cup final. Now, again, you're not going to understand most of this, so I will paint the picture of what happens while he's talking so you understand where we're going. It's tied 1-1. It's very, very late in the match, and Argentina pushes toward the goal. They're denied at one point. You hear his voice inflection go up. You hear the crowd react. They do not score. When you start hearing him say Messi, Messi, which you will hear, it's one of the few words I can understand in this entire thing, that's when Messi starts taking control of the ball. He crosses it in, and it's headed in, and then you hear him go absolutely bananas. I will tell you that this is probably better via video because this guy is on the verge of tears when this ball hits the back of the net. But I find this call to be incredible. I find it to be humorous. So listen, as they attack, they're denied. Messi corrals, he centers it in, and they score the goal that's going to send them through to the final. The voice of Argentina soccer.
Julián Álvarez, abierto Nico González y Argentina entusiasmado, embalado, con fe, vamos. Va Nico a buscar mano a mano, lo marca Conza, no deja atrás para Julián, viene para Julián, entrega para Enzo. Va Enzo, abrió la cancha para Nico. Va para Nico, mete por abajo. Le queda Alexis, apuntó y paró. ¡Palo! Va para Messi, Valeo. Pegó en el palo. Pero qué trasero que tienen. Por Dios. Por no decir otra cosa, viene Messi. Va Leo, Messi. Va Messi, mete el centro. ¡Gol! Argentina, carajo, siempre hay que confiar, no termina hasta que no termina, no termina hasta que no termina, nunca hay que dejar de creer. Argentina 2, Inglaterra 1, Lautaro viejo hermano, Argentina en mi corazón estamos juntos, siempre juntos, Argentina 2-1, 47 minutos Juan Pablo, vamos Argentina todavía, no se puede tener tanto culo, no es Argentina 2-1.
This guy is on the verge of tears, and when he finished that call, he's holding a mic. A lot of times play-by-play guys will have headphones on with the mic that just comes in front of the mouth, or maybe one that's pinned on. He's holding the mic, and he just dropped it right when he was finished with the call. It was Vamos Argentina. That was just electrifying. Now that is the electricity that comes with winning. This next bite really cracked me up, and you will understand every word, because this comes from Jamie O'Hara, who is with Talk Sports, which I don't know if it's a prominent video service in England. I don't know if it's a niche podcast. He's certainly more famous today than he was 3 days ago. But he's on after England is eliminated from the World Cup by Argentina. And he's not real thrilled with the coach of England. And he goes on this rant after they've been eliminated that for some reason the British accent is funny to us. The verbiage that he uses was funny to me. This is post-game. I host a post-game show. I understand the emotions after England eliminated from World Cup play, and he's not thrilled with the strategy of the head coach who decided to pull everyone back after they went up 1-0.
You can almost accept it.
I know.
You're playing against Argentina. Yeah. You can't sit off for 25 minutes against Argentina. No. He absolutely bottled it. Thomas Tuchel's cost us the World Cup. He cost us the World Cup. We're 1-0 up. Played well first half. All right, cagey affair. We go 1-0 up. Be brave. Be brave, Thomas. This is what we brought you in for. We brought you in for this moment. We got rid of Southgate because he bottled it, because he weren't brave. We brought you in for now to make that decision. We're 1-0 up in a World Cup semi-final. Bring on Rashford. Bring on Saka. And if they score, they score. But at least we're going to go down fighting. At least we're going to go down with some pride. We fell out of the World Cup in disgrace because of him. Because of him. And we brought him in for this job. This is what we brought him in for, to get us over this line. And it's the same old England. Same old crap. Same old guff that I have to watch every tournament that we're in. And it's the manager's tucked us up again. Tucked us up. We're dead on our feet. Got Morgan Rogers playing right wing. Jude Bellingham on the left. Brings on Nico Riley. We can't get out. Harry Kane's done nothing. He's dead. Nothing. Got nothing left.
I don't.
I can't believe it, Jace.
Well, no.
Jace, I can't believe it.
No,
it's a disgrace. He should be sacked. Get him out. Gone.
I totally agree.
Oh, some of that verbiage is so good. He absolutely bottled it. He bottled it. Two different coaches bottled it. That has not come across the pond. Bottled it. I don't have that. And then he should be sacked. That's the word for fired. He should be sacked.
It's just choked. That's
Get
all.
him
Yeah,
out.
it's
Well,
just
I know,
choked.
I get it,
yeah,
but
right.
he bottled it.
Bottled it.
Just incredible.
Hey, he was spitting though. Whatever he's when he said you should have put in Saka and Rashford when you needed scoring.
Yeah.
You should have did that. So I feel him 110%.
Look, yeah, I don't know squat about soccer, but I understand what the Brits are upset about. They scored a goal and then they parked the bus and said, "Hey, we're just going to try to play defense for a long time
against Argentina."
And they're pretty good on offense, I'm told. Argentina scores a lot of late goals, is what I've been told.
And they have
about.
the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
So you know.
And guess what? He made him pay for that. Absolutely bottled it. He should be sacked. We got to bring that back to American sports talk here instead of fired. Sacked. And there's multiple Brits that I've heard say that should be sacked. after that one. I found that to be interesting. I found it to be fascinating. I chuckled at both of them this morning. I realized, trust me, if the Argentina one didn't play on radio for you, watch that guy. Go to Twitter or YouTube or wherever and watch that guy in person. I mean, he is on the verge of an absolute meltdown of tears in the best way. And then if you see him, there are guys in the press box climbing over him to hug each other. Everyone's going nuts back there. It's phenomenal stuff. And while I don't care about soccer and I don't understand the sport, I fully appreciate, 100% appreciate the passion that these nations have for this opportunity once every 4 years. Like that registers to me. If one of my teams only got to play once every 4 years, like I would be fully invested in that, obviously. And they've reached the end. And look, it's tough look for England to get up 1-0 and then bow out. So sack the manager is what my guy, what was his name, Jamie O'Hara, has to say at this point. All right, we're chugging along here. Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We will come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com. FABT.com. 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. They started up in 1910, 116 years later. They are still here, and they are growing. They've got the resources. If you're looking for a commercial loan, they can help you with that. Don't think, well, I'm looking for sizable loan here. I've got to go national. Check local. 25 locations. They've got the resources to help you out. And the decision makers are local. The people you deal with on a day-to-day basis are local. When you make a call to First American Bank and Trust, you don't get a call center in LA. You get someone in Southeast Louisiana, someone that you go to church with, someone that your kids play baseball with. That's First American Bank and Trust. 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. The resources to help you out with your commercial loan. If you've got a personal loan you want, First American Bank and Trust is happy to help you out with that. It's First American Bank and Trust online at FABT.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Every single cow at Sagrera Farms is a 3-year journey. It's strategic genetic mating. And then you've got a cow that's raised on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days, and it's prime. And they're not guessing. You have vets that come out and do the ultrasound. The standard for prime on the intramuscular fat score is 9. If you're just south of that, you're talking about choice, which is 60% of the beef out there. Below that is select, which is the bottom of the barrel. But prime has got to be 9. You're talking about cows on the farm at Sagrera Farms that are 12, 14, 18, double prime at Sagrera Farms. And you can have them at your home in the freezer. Fillets, ribeyes, strips, picanhas, flank steaks, skirt steaks, chuck roasts, ground beef. Change the way you do burgers. You can do that when you contact my guy, Sean Sagrera. Go visit the farm. You can see where he raises these cows just north of Baton Rouge. Top 1% in the country. There's 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. Supper Club and the farm. Call Sean, 719-1723. That's again in the 225 area code, 719-1723. Get some of the best beef you have ever had in your entire life, and it can be right there at your home. So when it's time to hit the grill, whether it's summertime and you want to hit the grill or it's the fall, which is coming, and you want to have folks over to watch the games and eat some steaks, want to have that freezer full of Sagrera Farms Premium Angus beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, busy show today. We got to finish it up. Let's do it with Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so one day before Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton intervened in the Brendan Sorsby legal battle, Texas Board Chair and mega booster Cody Campbell donated $275,000 to Paxton's Senate campaign. So Texas Tech caring about the gambling addiction was a gimmick. Take it or leave it.
I will take that.
I'll take it.
I've said many times, I don't mean to disparage those with addiction at all. I just did not find this case to be overly compelling, that he was so addicted to gambling in a previous life, but he had fixed it with a quick rehab stint, and now he could play quarterback.
Yep.
I just found it to be disingenuous. I found it to be unbelievable, and I just don't have any sympathy here. That's not to suggest that people aren't battling that day to day. I just don't buy it with Sorsby. It just never worked for me. Now, that may make me insensitive. It may make me shallow because I don't know Brendan Sorsby, but I just don't buy this Texas Tech defense, and I think what has happened here is correct. I just don't think you can bet on games your team plays in and continue to keep the competitive integrity of the sport if you're allowed to continue in it. I just don't find that. I think he broke a rule. There are consequences to a rule.
Yep.
The consequences are, see you later, go try pro football.
All right, so NFL legend Jerry Rice was at a golfing tournament when a random heckler screamed 4 right as he swung. Rice then proceeds to find the guy, chased him down, chased him down for heckling him. So heckling celebrities at a golfing tournament, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. Look, I don't golf's a weird deal because you can be as loud as you want at a hockey game, at a football game, baseball. Like, that's just part of the deal. But,
yes.
like, you can greatly impact a golf tournament if you want to do it. You can get right behind a guy. I could impact the Zurich if they came back to New Orleans. I could get 8 feet from a guy, and right when he gets to the top of his backswing, just scream at him.
Oh,
and
really?
he would probably flinch. Like, you can do that. And I don't understand why people think it's funny. But then again, I don't really get the student section having to scream profanities after every time the band plays. People are entertained by sophomoric things, and this is something that I don't get the Baba Booey thing after a player hits a golf shot on TV. I just don't think it's funny or entertaining, and I don't think it's cool to heckle a guy playing in a golf tournament. But people think it's funny. It just is what it is. People have different senses of humor, and that one I just don't get. And I you're going to get kicked out of an event if you do that. But that's something that pro golfers have mentioned. Like, people can now bet on you and a score over under, and then go impact it if they can get close enough to you to make an impact on you. Like, you could throw something at a tour player while you could. You'd get kicked out. You'd probably get arrested.
All right, I'm like,
but like,
what
if
in
you
the
got
world?
money on it and you want to go out there and do that, like you
really could though. Yeah,
I can bring a tennis ball to a PGA Tour event, I'm sure. And like, if somebody's in his backswing, hit him with it. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that's happened before, but like,
it's possible though.
You would have a hard time impacting an NFL game. You can impact a golf event because everybody is quiet and still, and you can get very close to the golfers. So I just don't get it. I don't get why people think that's funny. But again, I don't get why college students have to scream profanities after every time the band plays. It just is what it is.
All right, so I know all week we've been on the NFL Top 100, but this one's different. Chris Olave comes in today at number 64 on the list.
The Saints.
Yes, Chris Olave. So notable receivers that he's ahead of right now are Teddy Rowe and McMillan at 87, A.J. Brown at 80, Zay Flowers at 71, Cortland Sutton at 68, and Drake London at 66. So is Olave right where he needs to be? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean, he and Drake London, I couldn't believe when London signed that deal, when I went and compared the stats from Olave and London, they are lockstep. I mean,
identical,
it is
basically.
right there. So, yeah, I think that if it's right next to Drake London, that makes a lot of sense. He's a good player. He just got to be on the field. And I wish the Saints had someone who was at his level or better. And I think that there's a chance that they do. We'll just have to see it. But, yeah, I don't think anyone's ever suggested Chris Olave is not a good player. He's had some drops. But most receivers do.
That Miami game.
And he's had some injury concerns, and a lot of football players do. But when he's out there, he's pretty good. He's not 6'6". He doesn't run 4.35. He doesn't have a sick vert. But he makes catches. He gets open. And that's really the name of the game. So I'm good with it.
All right, so that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right. Shout out to those who joined us for today's show. We packed a lot in over the course of 2 hours. I opened the show talking about LSU's players in the Nike Elite Blue Ribbon class and what that meant for those guys. There's 11 of them, and I think it's interesting, the players that they picked and kind of the methodology behind that. Find that at Hunt on LSU on our YouTube channels. Luke Johnson came on to talk about Alvin Kamara's new contract. He'll be a Saint for life, and what does it do for the Saints? Luke wasn't wild about the way the Saints went about this. You can hear more about that at Hunt on Hunt on Saints. I beg your pardon. Bill Connolly wrote a piece that I wasn't wild about, talking about the expansion of the college football playoff in relation to the World Cup. You can hear that conversation if you catch us on demand. Got you caught up on the Open Championship. They have finished up play there at Birkdale, so day one in the books. I'm going to go watch some highlights of that when we finish up here today. In-depth chart at running back. Can LSU run the ball this year? I think they will. I'll tell you why and kind of give you the who's who of that at the top of the hour from hour number 2. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. And Jay Johnson joined us from Cape Cod. He's seeing 3 of his transfers on Cape Cod this weekend. Then he's going to go to Sacramento to watch Tommy White and Dylan Cruz play. We talked to him about that. Had a little fun with World Cup sound bites in hour number 2. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. That's it for us. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow to wrap up the week with the Friday edition, The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. It's a great website. I tell you that a couple times a week. If you're looking for a new vehicle, looking for a pre-owned vehicle, and you know what you want, you can check out the inventory at FabryChevrolet.com and whittle it down by that. If you know what make and model you want and want to see which ones they have in stock, go. If you're not really sure, but you know you want an SUV, sort by SUVs. If you know you want a new car, sort by new, and then start working from there. If you know you want a pre-owned car, start with a pre-owned. Sort from there. In that case, you might be looking at mileages. You can sort on mileages. In any case, you're going to be looking at prices, and they allow you to shift the price range that you're looking for so that the cars that meet your criteria show up. It's all there at FabryChevrolet.com. So if you're looking for a new vehicle or pre-owned vehicle as fall gets upon us, you want to make sure you got that vehicle set up to get the kiddos to and from school, you can do it. Check them out on Highway 61 in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.